Until I had a gentleman that came into the office one time, fit, good looking dude, great, whatever. And we applied the medication because he came in just down, like, whatever works, you know. I was like, dude, trust me, you're gonna have an erection in 7 minutes after we do this medication. And because I'd already seen it work, I knew, and he was just distraught, whatever, right? We do it, and bro, I come back in the room because we time it, make sure, come back in with the provider, and he's crying. And I'm like, what? Like, what happened? What do we do? What happened? And he got an erection. And you're like, and at first I'm kind of like, you know, I was like, what happened? What do we do wrong? What's going on? He literally started crying because he's like, man, you just saved my marriage.
What a great day today. We have Rob Webb on the 1% Club podcast. You know, let's talk about life. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about wellness. Let's talk about business. And most importantly, let's talk about mental health. And let's get right into it.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me, brother. I'm excited.
Where do you see health and wellness business going now?
What we're doing, brother, what we're doing. A few years ago, it was all taboo. No guy wants to talk about, you know, I don't take nothing. And I think we've blown past that already. That's just wide open now. So we can talk about testosterone, we can talk about peptides, we can talk about all this cool stuff. And it's not frowned upon. It's not like, you know, it's become the norm. So it's going into that space. I think longevity, for instance, us, that we're getting older, but we're wiser, but we feel young, we feel good, but we're also feeling the aches and pains now, where you're like, oh shit, I don't want that anymore, because you still have so much drive in you. I think we know so much more, we want to keep going. I think it's going into, you know, what else can I do? So it's getting away from the insurance and being naive and just trusting the doctor to let me take matters into my own hands and learn what's going on, get more educated, and then optimize, take all these supplements, get into the gym, work out, this biohacking, cold plunging, red sun. What does all this stuff do? You're basically just mimicking old school. You're just basically mimicking, you know, a simpler times, you know? I mean, less stress, right? All these things that we consume in electronics and phones, and I mean, you name it, it kicks your ass. Epigenetics, right? What we're talking about, right? All these mutations that we're seeing now in genes, and it's real, you know, it's real. These phones are killing us, you know, too much coffee, plastics. I mean, all these toxins we're putting in our body are really killing us too, you know?
Let's go back and talk men's and women's sexual wellness, because I think it's something that's not spoken about enough, and there's many factors that actually go into that. Having a healthy relationship with your partner, you know, ultimately stems to it's that person. You know, knows what that person actually going to, then they can't take care of themselves and they can't take care of their partner. So what are some things in men and women's sexual wellness that you guys look for and identify?
People want to look good, they want to feel good, they want to feel confident about themselves. So you have to find out what is their why. Sometimes it's appearance, sometimes it's they just broke up with a couple. You don't know what happened. They just got through a divorce, you don't know. This was an eye-opener when I opened up Modern Male, because I didn't realize ED was such a big problem, erectile dysfunction. And for men, as you know, it's in our head. So sometimes we're so stressed out with bills and work and providing and finances and kids and you name it. Sometimes we just can't perform. We're just so overwhelmed. So I really learned that guys, it's in their heads. So most guys don't have an ED problem. It's just that you get overwhelmed and then it doesn't work, right? So a lot of that you can use certain medications of Cialis or Viagra. There was a medication though, Trimix, which really opened up my eyes. Trimix was awesome. I mean, for, you know, patients in wheelchairs and quadriplegics and guys that are just really doesn't work at all. This medication was an application you actually do, and in 7 minutes you have an erection. And this was mind-blowing to me. I mean, they use this in the adult industry. It's basically cheating. You don't have to think. The medication is gonna do its job. So I was always like, oh, this is crazy, this is cool. I didn't think anything of it. Until I had a gentleman that came into the office one time, fit, good-looking dude, great, whatever. And we applied the medication because he came in just down, like, whatever works, you know. I was like, dude, trust me, you're gonna have an erection in 7 minutes after we do this medication. And because I'd already seen it work, I knew, and he was just distraught, whatever, right? We do it, and bro, I come back in the room because we time it, make sure, come back in with the provider, and he's crying. And I'm like, what? Like, what happened? What do we do? What happened? And he got an erection. And you're like, and at first I'm kind of like, you know, I was like, what happened? What do we do wrong? What's going on? He literally started crying because he's like, man, you just saved my marriage. And I'm like, whoa, that's when that really hit me. Like, okay, we're really helping people. So then I got the story on the back end. And the back end was that he just couldn't perform. He was so stressed out that his wife just kept beating him up. Like, you don't love me. You're cheating on me. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and he's a good looking dude. So it would be like, that's, of course, it's normal for her to think that. And he really wasn't. He's like, dude, I love her. I love her. But the more stress I have with work and the more she keeps beating me up, he couldn't perform at all. So, man, he ran home. He did his thing. I mean, and that's when it really like clicked. I was like, oh, shit. Like, okay, what is happening here? Same with females as well, right? You hit a certain age, you know, menopausal, they start losing their vaginal, it starts getting drier, they're not flowing anymore, the hormones are down. To answer your question, where is it going? I mean, I guess, again, goes kind of back to old school. We're creatures, we're animals, you know, that's how we're fueled, we're energized by this. So I think if we're able to perform, if we're fertile, if we have that animal instinct in us, things are good. When we lose that and we can't, it really starts taking a detriment to everything, right? I can't perform, I can't think, I don't look good, I don't feel good. So it's really important when we get a patient to figure out, you know, what is their motivation? What are they going for? Sometimes it's just losing weight. As they lose weight, you start seeing their confidence to build, and then they maybe start opening up and, hey, you know, doc or whatever, you know, I'm not a doctor, but one of the providers in our clinic will, hey, now can you help me here? Or, hey, now I want to do some Botox. Now I want to do some fillers, because now they look better, they feel better. Now they want to fix their face. Now they want to fix other things. So it's really interesting to see where the patient goes. But I think what me and you have learned also is it all starts in the mind, right? And the mind is very powerful, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you know, that saying, I love that because it's your right? So it's how you're feeding your mind. But it's also finding that, and then it all just connects. So I think it all goes together. Your health and wellness, your mind, your sexuality, your fertility, your muscle tone, everything just goes together. So it's where are you in your journey? Where are you going to start? But you end up realizing that we're all very simple. You know, we just need the basics.
What type of testing, Neil, do we do in the clinic where, you know, we can monitor men's and women's sexual wellness?
Simple blood tests, honestly, a questionnaire in the beginning. In our questionnaire, when you go in and you sign up, it will ask, do you get morning erections? It'll ask some female questions as well. And usually that's kind of an indicator of, hey, you know, we'll ask more questions along that line. So usually that's the first step. If not, blood work. But blood work won't say too much as far as an ED issue, but it will give us fertility for male or female. Is your LH, your FSH, or is that healthy? Is that vibrant? Is that working, or is that low? Your testosterone levels, is that low? Females, progesterone and estrogen, where is that at? Are they having hot flashes, trouble sleeping, all that good, night sweats, all that? That's a good indicator to get everything rolling. Simple blood tests, honestly, just start with that, and from that, just layer it in conversation, really. So as long as the patient is open and honest with us and telling what's going on, we can really then start diving in and get to the solution quick, you know, get to something really fast. As far as medications, there's different medications we can use as well, right? There's injections that we use, there's creams, there's pellets, there's different fertility medications that we can start off with. We don't specialize in fertility, but, you know, ACG, Clomid, usually those are the first lines of defense we can start doing. And then it goes back to, again, the diet, so different testing. How is your body methylating? What nutrients are you on?
You know, like deep dive into your health diagnostics, and starting there first and optimizing the person's, you know, body and performance, and then and then having them go to the fertility clinic if they need to get checked on. There's a bridge of gap missing on performance.
Big time.
Men's and women's fertility is a big issue. People are blowing $25,000 to $50,000 and going to the fertility clinic, but their body is not optimized. If they, you know, spend a little bit of time and money and do a deep dive into their health diagnostics, we test their DNA, we test their stool, their urine, their blood, their epigenetics with their hair.
Yes.
I think that's really important to test. You know, then we can provide that physician with more information before that patient goes and someone's going, but their body's not optimized to actually receive the hormones that they're going to get and everything like that. I think that's a huge miss in the industry.
Agree 100%, because guess what? When they do that, what we're talking about, they're also fixing all the damage from years ahead, and and prepping their life for a child, being healthier, being more fit, being more active. So you're almost prepping your body better. You're recharging your body that you might be fine. You're going to feel better. You probably might be more relaxed. And again, more optimal is the word. But get this. Most people, when they run to the fertility clinic, it's because they've been doing whatever, and now I want to have a kid, and then they rush in there, and what do we do now? Fix me. And then, of course, boom, 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 pump you up with a bunch of stuff to have a baby. No, let's take a different approach.
Anyone that I've known that does fertility protocols, I can't, every single person tells me how stressful, I've got to inject myself with this at this time, and this, and this, and this. They need to make sure that they have their mental performance, their cognitive skill set completely in line with what they're doing. But they get overwhelmed. The last thing they want is stress and strain on their body, but yet there's a lack of that. There's a lack of actual true wellness that gets put in to these things.
Yes, there's God's will, right? There's that beautiful, reunion and the whole thing that is nice, and it's a connection between a couple and all that gets missed when you're super stressed out, trying to just dose, and it's like it might just happen naturally if you're healthy and things are good. If you're and all that is because you are more fit, you're more active, you're more confident, you're more, all these benefits that you get from doing all this already, and knowing that your body is working properly. You'll step into that season more prepared, more ready, more relaxed, more ready to get that miracle, if you will.
I walked to the fertility clinic. I got tested. Some of my stuff was kind of low, but what really hit me was everyone in that office, man. It almost seemed like they had cancer, guys. The way that you set your mind and intention walking into any aspect of your life is really going to deal with the outcome that you're going to receive. And even if the outcome is not great, at least you know what you can give in that moment to make the outcome as good as it can be. I also set your intentions. It may be good, it may be bad, but that's not the point. The point is that you know everything that you tried in order to produce that outcome, and it really starts in your mind. People just walk into the doctor's office and it feels like a straight doctor's office. That's not wellness. Medicine out of a book.
Correct.
We're getting into a point in life where we have stem cells, we have peptides, we have hormones, we have hyperbaric chambers, we have red light beds, everything. But what's really lacking is someone's approach to how they're taking care of their mindset. I see that getting much worse as we're making all these medical advancements, all these biohacking advancements. What's happening is we're getting poisoned mentally, and our mental health is going down the worst I've ever seen it before.
Correct. And then everybody's just looking, they have no patience, and then they want the quick fix. Fix me. And what you said too, walking into a waiting room, and you see that, and you're almost like, these people are so unhealthy, or you can almost feel the energy of like, you want to bring a child into this world, and you're not even like I don't know, you could feel that too. You could feel that in certain energy. You walk into a waiting room here or this kind of facility, and you could feel a different energy, right? And I think that's why people need to operate on a different, get more educated. I think if you're getting more educated on what's going on, that's the thing. You'll get the people that just want a quick fix for everything, and that is very detrimental. Because
the reality is, you could try everything, and God forbid that you end up not being able to have children. You can adopt, but that's not the case. You need to make sure that you're mentally in a state where you can handle saying, sorry, right now you can't have kids, or forever you can't have kids, or whatever the case may be. But how is that person going to handle that news? If they're sitting destroyed in your waiting room, we're going to say, how are they supposed to handle that news? It's significantly better. If you know that you tried your best, that's God's will. That's not in the cards for the time. You have to be okay with that. That can be so detrimental. Men and women may never heal from that for 20 years. We always talk about women's fertility, but half the time, or more than half the time, it's men's fertility too, because men don't want to appear weak, so they don't talk about anything. We're not taking care of ourselves the way that we should be.
True. And I like that too, which we were talking about the other night, about bringing like community and opening these topics up, because men need to be able to go talk to other men and have these conversations and feel safe, feel strong, because a lot of these issues, and when we close doors in clinics, which I was telling you that too, I think these things change. Sometimes you have an outline, hey, what does this cost? What is this? What is this? But once you close the door and they have their privacy with the doctor, another can of worms opens up.
Another big thing is we're living in a world where society gets created that like a man can't have a best friend as a woman unless there's a sexual desire there. But I feel like that's a big issue. You can't a woman can't be a man's best friend. That's not true. That's called false interpretation.
Yeah, people do want to talk. They want somebody to listen. I think everything's moving at such a fast pace, But here, I notice in this performance center and what we're doing here, we take our time, and clients want to talk and they want to engage, and it's nice to lend an ear and to hear what's going on and have options and have intelligent conversation of what's going on and be able to get that feedback. Where sometimes in normal gyms or other places you go, it's just hi, bye, juice, pre-workout. We're like not even that at all, And to be able to have the intelligence and the professionals that we have here, and be able to say, boom, we got something for you. It's awesome. And to see how our clients react, it's like, whoa.
I think the value add and the most important thing is the trust that we're building in clients. And yeah, some of it has to do with results, but it's just the way that the place is set up for culture and community. All the pro athletes, I think we've had over 700 pro athletes, within the company over the course of the career. I mean, that's huge, from all different sports, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and all that was great. That's what people see. Then they don't see the husband's mom and dad who are 60 to 70 years old that we get to take care of.
Yeah.
Or the 12 or 13-year-old kids that we get to inspire and take care of.
That's huge.
That are overweight.
Yeah.
We see the social media side with all the athletics.
Yeah.
But they don't take the deep dive on what actually built the trust within the community. Let's explain a little bit of how we're optimizing genetic performance.
Goes back to medical school and big pharma, right? Big pharma is funding medical schools, and they're teaching doctors how to write prescriptions and how to treat illnesses, how to medicate illnesses. They're not teaching diet. They're not teaching how to prevent that, how to eat healthy, how to exercise, how to all that, which all that can be a prescription as well, which we're learning now too. We're going to be prescribing fitness. We're going to be prescribing hyperbaric chamber, red light bed, saunas, along with your peptides, with your hormones, with everything else, making this, the whole trifecta, right? I would say it doesn't matter how much you exercise and how well you eat, you're not going to touch your hormones, You can touch on them and raise them a little bit and do that, but this is aging, right? This is longevity. So you have to get hormones on board. You have to get peptides on board. You have to get into the science, right? Into the blood and see what your blood is doing and manipulate that to get that. That's the trifecta, right? And then now you're exercising, you're doing everything else spiritually. Hopefully you got that intact. Your mental. Man, now you're operating. So
obviously blood work's been around for a long time, but what can we capture with doing blood, using the hair, analyzing the urine and the metabolites coming from the air, analyzing the stool, analyzing your DNA genetic area.
A basic blood panel, when you go into a doctor's office, they're just looking at ranges.
Yeah, I think you get about 19 biomarkers. That's it.
And then they tell you, yeah, you're fine. And a person on the other side with a doctor with a lab coat and a clipboard, you're like, I'm good till next year. I'll come back next year. But you could be horrible.
Let's do your blood work every 3 months. Let's analyze your blood and urine every 6 months. And your stool every 6 months. Let's do your variant test right off the bat.
And why? Because everything's changing, and as we're dosing these patients, we can make adjustments up or down. Even a hormone, right? I get this with testosterone. A lot of guys, what is my number? What should I be? Like they want a specific number, and they think that's what it is. I can check your blood in the morning, after sexual activity, at nighttime, anytime. Your cortisol, everything is never going to be the same number. So your body is constantly changing. You're like a computer, right? It's amazing what your body can do. So you're never going to we're not hitting one number and then you're there. That will change tomorrow. Things fluctuate a lot. So blood, I always like to say, doesn't know how old you are, right? You get a blood test and it's a range, high, low. If it comes below the range, a doctor prescribes this. If you're in a high range, okay, we're going to prescribe this. And they're just trying to keep you in a range, right? But your testosterone, for instance, is 200 to 1200. So 1200 is probably when you were 21 years old, you're young, you're recovering quicker, you could see it, right? You can go out drinking and partying and you're in school the next day and you can do everything, right? Now we're declining. Most everybody we check, 90%, 99% of the clients we check are 300 or less. And that's normal now. And I tell guys, don't even feel bad. That's how you operate now. But when we get you to 8, 9, 1,000, that's great, but you're still in a range. You're just optimizing, getting yourself in a younger range. So that is true for cholesterol, for your thyroid, for glucose, all these other markers that we can bring those down through different things that we're doing, right? So then that's kind of, so I always say get a copy of your blood test. Ask the doctor, what is my number in that range? And then let me be on the higher number. That way you're within 100 of that number, but you're never going to hit one number, but you're within 100. You're in the 800s. You're in the 900s, you know? Then, okay, cool. Then we know. So that's why we like to test at 300, because when a patient comes in and they're like, damn, I feel great right now. Okay, we want to pull blood right now because you're telling me you feel amazing right now. So something we're doing right now is great. So what regimen do we have you on? Hormones, supplements, etc. That is great. We want to pull blood there. So we can, if that's a month later or 2 months later, it doesn't matter. We have the ability to pull that information, that data now, and then log it, right?
You could be a triathlete, be the healthiest person in the world, and still have an illness. You can still get cancer, and more times than I would like to admit seeing that you have a really healthy person that all of a sudden becomes sick. But they don't become sick on accident. They become sick because something's wrong in their body. Something's not methylating properly. They're absorbing something. They're not able to get rid of something.
True.
And if we just look at their blood, we're going to miss out on all the other things that may be going on with them, which is definitely the case when people were looking at my blood. We found out what was going on because we didn't check that genetic variation of what the hell was going on with them.
And just imagine a simple example would be like lactose, right? Milk and certain things you just eat and they just flare you up. If something like that is so easy and obvious to feel and know, imagine the other stuff that we don't even know we're doing to our bodies and that we can't feel or know, and then later it's boom, it hits you and you're like, shit, I didn't know. And again, going back to a normal doctor, back then we didn't have all these exams or we couldn't set these up. So again, you're fine. And a lot of times you go to the doctor, and we always have patients still, I went to my primary, or they switch over to us, right? I went over there and they say I'm fine, but I don't feel fine. I feel like shit. I'm like, what is going on? I know. So then they're like, something's wrong, because they know their bodies and they want to seek better professionals and better help. So they come to us and we dig further and further and further. And yeah, we do find something. And sometimes it could be something very easy or something very like, hey, you're missing this or you're missing that, and make a few adjustments and then put them on the right track. But then it's awareness to the patient where they're like, oh shit, okay. And so usually that's a switch that clicks off. We're like, okay, what else can we do now? Because now I trust you. And then, okay, hey, start eating better. Hey, start getting in the gym. Hey, do some physical therapy. Hey, do this. And then boom, that evolves to hopefully these clients take this home and then share this with their family, and it's a snowball effect to health and wellness,
And in my case, it could be, for instance, while I was feeling so sore and fatigued, is my vitamin D level was a 7.
Yeah, that's nothing.
So
you get nothing.
Something that's that low on the range, now you must have IV administration of that nutrient.
Correct. Yeah. And vitamin D is an oil based, but also too for the way you work. I know how you work, dude. You're up at 5 a.m. It's dark out. You're in here. You're busting your ass. Leave the gym and it's dark out. So you're not even getting any sun exposure. You're not doing anything. So tattoos. That's the. I always fuck with you. Also, that's the poisoning. Sorry, that's the ink poisoning, right? But I'm really excited, man, because now that we're getting these patients in and we're gathering this data, it's really cool to sit with them now and go through these reports, and with the providers too, because we got the doctors here as well. We got everybody, we got our team, and we have access to a lot more people too that people don't even know that we have, and when we can pick up that phone call and say, hey, we got this, and we get the information right away, with all the connections you have. And
last week alone, selling over 6 figures of blood work.
Oh man, incredible.
And it's not the sale that I'm enthused about. It's the fact that we're now putting the education out there and people are coming to get their full health discovery. We're analyzing their blood, their urine, their methylation, their nutritional intake, their stool, their genetic variant. We're testing cancerous cells in the body, blood. But now they're getting a physical therapy, medical evaluation. We're checking their biomechanics, a full biomechanics evaluation, a full session with our kinesiologist to check all the range of motion, VO2 max test, RMR, a DEXA scan.
Dude, nobody's doing that. That's insane. Yeah.
And it does take, it takes about 2 to 4 weeks to get all of that data back. But then imagine sitting down with someone and presenting them with like, hey, this is your health discovery. This is where your health is right now. Here's your baseline.
Yes.
We're never going to let you get any worse than this ever.
Yes.
We're looking to improve there.
Yes.
Why is that important? Because as professionals, we need to get held accountable for the way that we're getting patients' results and client results as well. For listening to what we're saying. Now imagine that person has a full book They can hand this to their doctor. They can hand this to their personal trainer, whoever their professionals that they're working with.
Correct.
And they always have this.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
what happens is these people run all over the place. They get different testing. Everyone wants to keep their data. You
Yep.
know, and the patient doesn't know what the hell is going on.
That's
they're spending all this money. They're taking all these things. You know, we had another patient, another hormone clinic, got this guy spending $40,000 a year on hormones and peptides.
And what you mentioned too as well, this is going to be, we want 10-year patients. We want people over 10 years. Imagine all the damage you've done, right? Most of our clients, we get all ages here, but the most part, the guys that really say we're already in our late 30s, 40s, 50s we get. So you've done already 20, 30 years of damage to your body. We're not going to be able to fix this. So changing that mindset, that mentality that, you know, yeah, you're going to give us, you know, 5, 10, whatever thousand. It's going to be expensive, but how much damage have you done? What does that cost? What does that mean to you?
You can't see their metabolic damage.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see their cardiovascular damage.
Exactly.
You can't see the blood vessels in their brain that are closed.
Oh yeah, the cognition, Alzheimer's, all this other stuff is coming.
They're
Yeah.
not looking at praise the people that do that for other people, but man,
Yes.
you got to take a big look in there.
You know, we're going to get you fit for your vacation and then see you later. No, this is an investment in you, right? And we emphasize how important it is to the patient. It's not about us, it's about you. And then take that long journey, because going back to why we started all this was the same thing. We kept getting information from different doctors.
What has evolution been in my business? 10 years ago, that's all I knew was how to get someone to lose weight, optimizing people's genetic performance.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Competing for patients, and that is that's not our vision. That's not what we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to optimize a patient and really take care of them, and not worry about, you know, who's going to get this or that. You know, it becomes, it's kind of saddening. I think that's why we had to, you know, pivot and make those moves. You know, thank you for having me, bro. This is cool. I'm excited, man.